Now, the next topic that we discuss over here is where we talk about how you can configure administrative roles in Microsoft 365. Yeah. Now, Microsoft 365 follows the concept of RBAC, which stands for Role Based Access Control, which in simple words basically means that if you want to perform any administrative activities in the Microsoft 365 environment, you need to have the appropriate role assigned to your account. Yeah. Now, the highest amount of admin rights that you can have in the Microsoft 365 environment is referred to as the global administrator. Yeah. But apart from this, you have 70 plus built-in admin roles. These are referred to as service admin roles. Yeah. Such as we have Exchange administrator, SharePoint administrator, billing administrator, password administrator, and so much more. Yeah. Each of these service admin roles will assign you with or will provide you with certain permissions that can be used to perform any administrative activities for that particular service. For example, if I assign you the Exchange admin role, you'll be responsible for performing administrative activities in the Exchange Online environment, such as configuring mail flow, setting up, managing accepted domains and remote domains, right? Managing your mailboxes and so on. Yeah. But a global administrator can manage the complete Microsoft 365 environment, right? And it's the highest amount of admin rights one can have in the Microsoft 365 environment. Right. So yeah, as we talked about it, as per some of the security recommendation, Microsoft recommends that you keep the number of global admins to a limited number or to a small number, which is anywhere between 2 to 4. Okay. Assign the least permissive role. Okay. So for example, if a user is only responsible for managing the Exchange Online environment, there's no need for you to assign the global admin role, which will not only allow that user to perform administrative activities in Exchange, but it will also allow the user to perform administrative activities in platforms like Teams, SharePoint, OneDrive, and so on. Okay. So always follow the least permissive role mechanism where you assign the necessary role to the user account to allow the user to perform the appropriate administrative activities. Now, since the admin accounts have access to a lot of sensitive content, make sure that the user or the admin accounts have multi-factor authentication enabled on them, right, to add an extra layer of security. Now, to assign the admin role, uh, as a global administrator, you will have an option to assign the other service admin or global admin roles in your organization. Okay. Now, you can use the Microsoft 365 Admin Center to perform this activity, or you can do this from PowerShell as well. Now, if you are working with a Microsoft partner, right, who is not only responsible for managing your subscriptions, but they might also be responsible for providing you some kind of level 1 or level 2 support, right? So in that case, you can delegate certain admin roles to your Microsoft partners who will be providing you this support, right? In this case, you can provide two kinds of delegated permission. First is full administration, which is the same privilege as your global admin role. And the other one is limited administration, which is the same privilege as your password admin role. Then we have privileged identity model or management model, right? So as we saw, if you want to assign a role or admin role to a user account, you can quite easily do that by just navigating to your Microsoft 365 Admin Center, or you can perform this activity from PowerShell as well. Yeah. But what if you want to assign an admin role in an automated manner? Right? In that case, you can use the privileged identity management. In privileged identity management, these roles can be assigned to your user accounts on demand, and it also provides you with just-in-time administrative access. Okay. For example, Alex needs to have the Exchange admin role assigned to their account. So Alex can request for this role whenever Alex wants to perform any kind of administrative activity. And this role or this request can be automatically approved or manually approved depending upon your requirement. And once the request is approved, Alex will be granted with the Exchange admin role, yeah, for a certain period of time, maybe like 2 hours or something like that. And after 2 hours, the rights will be revoked. So Alex will no longer have the Exchange admin role assigned to their account. Yeah. So the Azure AD Privileged Identity Management is part of your identity governance suite. For this, you require the Azure Active Directory Premium P2 plan. Yeah. Right. Now, as I said, best practices is always follow the least privilege mechanism. You can also use privileged identity management to grant just-in-time access. Since all of your admin accounts are sensitive, make sure that you turn on MFA for all of your administrative accounts to avoid any user compromise scenarios. Yeah. Revoke any unneeded permissions, right? Limit the number of global administrator accounts to be less than 5. And you can use the Azure AD role assignments and delegate the role assignments to your individual users. Or you can also create or work with the native accounts for your Azure AD roles. Right. Now, one of the important job of your as a global administrator or as an administrator in the Microsoft 365 environment is to manage your tenant health and services. And this can be managed from the service health page in the Microsoft 365 admin portal. Yeah. As we talked about it, the majority of the IT infrastructure of these service as is managed by your uh, Microsoft cloud service providers, right? So for any particular reason, if one of the services goes down or is not working according to your requirement, you can see the status of this service from the service health page. Okay. And that will display one of the status that you're seeing over here. Okay. Let's say if one of the data centers has gone down and it's not providing you the correct services, you'll see a service degradation or interruption. If Microsoft has already initiated a recovery for that service, the status will change to restoring services, right? Once it is restored, you'll see the status as service restored. Right. You can also use the adoption score, which is previously known as the productivity score. Okay. The adoption score or the productivity score gives you insights into the different services that your organization is utilizing in your Microsoft 365 environment. Okay. And this score is then categorized into two different categories. First is the people experience, and then we have the technology experience. Yeah. So the people experience will give you an insight into understanding how users are utilizing all of the Microsoft 365 services for content collaboration, mobility, communication, meetings, and teamwork. On the other hand, technology experiences will give you understanding into endpoint analytics, Microsoft 365 apps health, and network connectivity. Yeah. So the maximum amount of points that you can have is 800, and out of 800, you can get depending upon the usage of these technologies, you'll be allotted points accordingly, right? And the goal of this score is to analyze areas of challenges where you can introduce some kind of improvement. Okay. So that your users can adopt these technologies in a faster, more efficient manner. Now, yeah, along with your Microsoft 365 adoption score, you can use the service health section to monitor their tenant health by using Microsoft 365 usage analytics. Okay. These analytics will help you to visualize and analyze your Microsoft 365 usage data. That means it will help you it will help you uh, give you understanding into how different services are being utilized in your organization, like Exchange, SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams, and so on. Yeah. Out of this, you can create custom reports, share insights throughout the company, and gain insights into how specific regions or departments are using Microsoft 365. If you have a Power BI Pro license, yes, you can use Power BI templates to create interactive dashboards out of these reports that can be presented to your higher management who are responsible for uh, monitoring this service. Now, ideally, you're supposed to develop an incident response plan in cases of service degradation, right? So, wherever, let's say, if there is a service degradation for Exchange Online in this example, you have to determine whether the incident is relevant to your company. You can also review for timeline checks once relevancy and degradation has been established, and then look for workarounds or a backup solution in the case where the service is degraded for longer than an acceptable time frame. Okay, because that can create a business downtime scenario which may affect the day-to-day activities or end user activities, or may also affect your end user productivity as well. Now, in cases like this, or wherever you require some technical pre-sales or billing support, right? You can reach out to the Microsoft 365 support team, and support is available for both your paid and trial subscriptions. Yeah. It can be done through telephone, it can be done through email, it also can be done through chat as well. Yeah. Now, Microsoft automatically assigns a severity level to a case when it's open based on the severity and the assessment of the issue, right? So SEV A is the critical issues, SEV B is high, and SEV C is non-critical. Yeah. So let's say if you create a support request which says email flow down or mail flow down, yeah, that will be categorized as critical, because obviously if you're not able to send and receive emails, that's a major issue an organization can be facing. Right. Right. So yeah, that will bring us to the end of the topics that we have up for discussion. Right. So I hope you got a brief idea about how you can configure your Microsoft 365 tenant. Now, what we'll do is we'll have a quick interactive knowledge check or Q&A session where I'll be displaying a few questions on the screen, and I'll give you guys a minute to answer it. And after that, I'm going to be revealing the answers so that we can have a discussion about it. Yeah. So I would appreciate that if you guys would, actively participate into this, because this is helpful uh, for solidifying all the concepts that we have learned so far. Yeah. So let's get started with the first question. Okay, so the first question is, which type of group supports collaboration, right? So as we talked about it, Microsoft 365 group is the only group that supports collaboration services All the other groups have some specific capabilities or specific features, but they do not support any kind of collaboration. Yeah. So let's move on to the next question. All right, so the next question is, what is the maximum number of domains that can be added in the Microsoft 365 tenant? So as of now, the limitation is 900. Yeah, so 900 domains can be added, and this can be parent domain or subdomains according to your requirement. Let's move on to the next question. Right. So the next question is, what is the highest amount of admin rights you can have in Azure Active Directory? Okay. Like we talked about it, similar to your enterprise admin role, which is the highest amount of admin rights that you can have in your on-premise Active Directory, we have the global admin role, that is the highest amount of admin rights. Yeah. Let's move on to the final question. Final question is, which of the following method can be used to create user accounts in Azure Active Directory? So the answer over here is, guys, all of the above. So you can use the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, Windows PowerShell, and directory synchronization to create user accounts in Azure Active Directory. Yeah. So congratulations, everyone, on answering the questions correctly. And just a quick reminder, make sure that you perform your lab activities to solidify all the concepts that we have learned so far. Yeah. So the first lab activity is to initialize your Microsoft 365 tenant. Yeah. So yeah, I hope you have a great time performing the lab activity. And once again, thank you for joining into today's session. Make sure we join in tomorrow's session where we discuss more interesting concepts revolving around Microsoft 365 technologies. Thank you for joining in again and have a great day ahead.